Again, welcome back to the Republic of Arsenal. Leeds against Arsenal literally has just ended a couple of minutes ago. A 6-goal thriller, an absolutely crazy game. Definitely a tale of two halves. And for a neutral, I'd imagine that was just all-out entertainment. I have Paul again with me, who's a Leeds fan, and I have a good friend, Squidger. So we're going to take a run through that game. Paul, first of all, look, before we dive into what went on, I'm going to start off at the very beginning. When you seen the Leeds lineup, what were your initial thoughts? I know we have hindsight on our side now, and we can say, this was a good shout, that was a bad shout. But when you initially saw the lineup, what were your feelings going into that game?
I was worried about Shackleton at right back.
Yeah.
It's the one position I was worried about. I know reading some of the forums there we have ourselves, a lot of people were worried about Struik in the Calvin Phillips role,
Yeah.
And you could see that we were only 15 minutes into the game when it switched to a back three, what's your young fella there, number 27? Yeah, you're the young lad there. I can't think of his name now. It's gone out of my head.
Smith Rowe, yeah.
Smith Rowe, yeah.
Yeah.
As you can see, Shackleton went into man marking him. So he did.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out because he was just getting past him so quick,
Yeah.
And, Arsenal did their homework. They pressed us high up the pitch. They played us mistakes. There's no point blaming individual players. There's no point blaming Meslier.
Yeah. Well, it's like you were saying in the last one. You were saying, look, win as a team, lose as a team. Don't point the finger at individuals.
Yeah, there's no point pointing the finger. Like, this is Bielsa ball. This is the way he wants to play. He likes to play from the back out. So when a centre half or a left or a right back is closed down, the first thing to do is pass the ball back to the goalkeeper. Now, Zach, you have, in fairness to him, he chased everything down today,
Yeah, he was
and he chased everything down, and he put Meslier under pressure for that. He didn't give him time on the ball. He made the mistake. Just a bit of loose control when he should have just hoofed it up the pitch.
Yeah.
But he's not trained to hoof a ball up the pitch. It's Bielsa ball. He's trained to push it out to the wings or push it up the Bamford. And he looked for the player, control, and that's it. A lot of people are blaming him for the first goal as well, but if you look at that first goal,
he played the ball out. It was intercepted. It's as you said, Paul. It's the way Bielsa wants to play. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're sticking to the process, But Meslier, there has to be a time when to clear your lines and just get rid.
Yeah.
I know he did. He took a bad touch, and he wasn't expecting to take a bad touch, obviously. But
that question there, just when you assembled, who were the Leeds centre backs and defensive midfielder? It was Struik and Cooper, was it at the back?
Struik and Cooper at the start.
Cooper were the centre halves.
Yeah.
Alioski was at left back, and Shackleton was right back. Then he switched to a back three, and he just put Aileen back out to his own position, and Struik went back with Cooper. That was that Struik, Cooper, and Alioski became the back three. Or Aileen went back out. And that worked for a while. We got control again, but then the second came.
Yeah, I think from the get-go, Arsenal were actually, you could see from the first minute, like Smith Rowe had a chance.
Oh,
there was two block shots and a shot in the first minute from Arsenal. You could see they were at it.
Straight away, they came from Shackleton's position down the right. You know,
Yeah.
them first two attacks, and they were both unchallenged. You know, that ball went into the box, both unchallenged. So it did.
Yeah.
You know, but
I didn't like the way Aylin stood off Aubameyang for the first goal, to tell you the truth.
For the first goal, that was very
he stood
bad.
off him, he was tracking.
But later on in the game, then he did exactly what he should have done that time. He threw himself in front of the ball. You know,
but serious block. Yeah,
he's not a natural centre half. You know, so obviously, you know, he's not used to. Cooper would be more used to throwing himself on the line like that. You know, but there's no, as I said, there's no point blaming the players. You know,
100%.
Like football that they do every week on the football pitch, and this is what they're saying. You know,
even when they went 4 down, they were still playing this football. That's what I love about Leeds. Even when they went 4 down, they were still coming playing Bielsa ball. You know.
Hey, look, this is why everyone, like myself included, we have a soft spot for Leeds, because even up to the 94th minute, okay, they were still chasing 2 goals, but they were still chasing. You know, whereas a lot of teams
always
a 4-0 like 100%. But just going back to the kind of lineups at the start, just for the Arsenal fans that are watching, I just kind of gonna run into kind of my feelings a little bit. I have to be honest, I was quite concerned when I seen this lineup. And again, look, hindsight's a beautiful thing. You can look back and you can say, okay, it worked, and I can understand why he did it. But I'm definitely not going to lie. I looked at a couple of those decisions today, and I could definitely see he had Benfica in mind. And I'd say maybe Arteta probably surprised himself a little bit. Definitely, I think we were all in shock at 4-0. I couldn't believe what was going on. But Paul, I was talking to you, and I don't know whether it's just it's the Arsenal fan within me. We're always a little bit pessimistic. Even at 4-0, I was saying to you, this game isn't over. If we're capable of scoring 4 in the first, Leeds are capable of scoring 4 in or 4, you know, basically just after half time. If we can score 3 in the first, Leeds can definitely do it in the second. And I'm still emotionally damaged from 10 years ago watching that Newcastle-Arsenal game when we were 4-0 up. I can't fully allow myself to rest. We could be 7-0 up, and I can't fully rest. It's just typical Arsenal. We just don't kill teams. And I'm actually, as happy as I am, at the same time, I'm actually a little bit disappointed, because it's just typical Arsenal. We just go asleep. We just allow teams a pathway back into this. And on another day, there were opportunities. Another day, I think Bamford might have got that call at the end when he was sandwiched between Cedric and Gabriel. Could have been a penalty.
I didn't think it was a penalty, to tell you the truth. I wanted it to be given. But
was there any difference to the first one he should have had? You know, that the referee didn't give on. You know. Yeah, you know, was it any worse than that? If you look at it, Bamford's running, but he doesn't even try to put his leg on the ground. He just goes to ground himself.
Cedric gets in front of him.
Yeah, but there's times as a striker when you just got to put your foot on the ground and run at them and make them pull you down, you know. Don't just go down soft. Make them pull you down, you know. Then get your, you know. You know, it doesn't go down softly looking for the penalty. I thought your first one was ruled out by VAR. If you look at Saka's right leg when he touches the ground, it appears to go from and under him, and that carries Cooper's momentum onto him. You know. I didn't think it was a penalty when I first saw it, and the more I looked at it, I said, "No, this isn't a penalty. This isn't going to happen."
No, I honestly didn't think it was a penalty either. I thought Saka looked for the contact, and I didn't actually see Saka flipping.
Yeah, if you look at his right leg when it hits the ground, it goes from underneath him, you know, and the momentum of Cooper then. It looked a bad challenge, but you know, we said yesterday that we hope we're not talking about VAR after this game. Like, that's the first decision, and in fairness, it just said go to the monitor and have a look at it yourself. You know, right? That's what it's there for, lads. And that was VAR absolutely perfectly today. You know, go and have a look.
I definitely agree with that. And I put it out on Twitter. And I know I annoyed a lot of Arsenal fans by doing it, but I said, for me, that's not a penalty, the Saka one. And people were saying, like, what do you mean? There was contact and there was this and there was that. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, there's contact, but Saka played the game. Saka knew what he was doing. Saka knew the contact was on the way. And look, I was critical of the Anthony Martial against Southampton, the Bednarek one. I was critical of that. I would be, completely going against myself if I was to say that I believe that was a penalty. Look, I think the problem is we love the guy. We absolutely adore Saka, and he's been so good. But look, at the same time, if it's a dive, it's a dive. I'm not going to defend him as much as I like the kid.
I don't think it was a dive.
Yeah, I don't think it was a dive either. But
he played for it.
He played for it.
Played for it, but there was contact. There was contact, but it wasn't a penalty. It's a contact sport, like. Do you know what I mean? What's Cooper meant to do? Let him run past him, like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought.
It's no more than the Bamford one at the end. 2 players coming in. What are they supposed to do? That's true.
Similar enough. I thought Leeds missed Calvin Phillips big time there today. We're over in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
Do you know something now? I don't think it mattered. I think the way Arsenal closed us down, it wouldn't matter if Calvin was there. I don't think it would have mattered because
it mightn't affect the result.
I know, but Arteta did his homework. He closed us, shut us down at the back. He didn't allow our defenders any time on the ball. And even when you look at it, when you look at your first goal, look at the amount of Arsenal players that was in the penalty area. The one player I spoke to you about yesterday was Bellerin. And there he is, he pops up with a...
Yeah, 100%. You called it. And I put that up on Twitter. I did put that on Twitter. I said, yesterday, I had a big Leeds fan on the podcast, and I said he singled out Bellerin as a threat. And
sure did.
Spot on. 100% spot on. Yeah. And a lot of Arsenal fans, when hearing that yesterday, they would have said, Bellerin, like I said to you, it's nice to get an outside perspective because sometimes we form this opinion and our opinions can't be changed because of who the player is. But you called it as an outsider. You called it. You were spot on.
He's the one player I picked out yesterday, and he was involved in everything that came down the right wing. Everything.
Yeah, he was very good today. Saka was unbelievable today as well.
On Sky, there said he got skinned for our second goal, But no defender is going to stop a through ball like that, that's played in behind him and Roberts around him. You can't do that anyway,
He can only cover so much space. There's a comment there from Gunnar Gossip TV. Big shout out to Gunnar Gossip TV. One of the best Arsenal channels out there, without a doubt. So much positivity. I love this channel because there's, as I said before, there's a lot of negativity within the Arsenal fan base. But Gunnar Gossip TV, for the positive vibes, definitely check it out. But there she says, so relieved to get the 3 points, but honestly, fair play to Leeds. They showed so much spirit and belief after being 4-0 down. Fair play. And you know what? That's Leeds all over. That was Leeds against Man United. They just do not stop.
I think
go on, Squidger, go on.
Bielsa's changes at half-time made a big difference as well, bringing on Roberts and bringing on Costa.
Yeah, Roberts was
good. And what about this young lad Huggins, Paul? I wouldn't know a whole pile about him now, but he looked good when he came on.
He's actually doing very well with the under-23s at the minute, Galdard was also on the bench today, and I'd like to have seen him get a run, but we were so bad in the first half, I wouldn't agree with have taken Klitsch off, Definitely Harrison, because he did nothing in the first half. Taking off Klitsch, who's a big ball winner for us in midfield, and putting in Costa, who's very lightweight, and you ask any Leeds fan, they'll tell you that was 15 million fucking wasted on Costa,
Yeah.
And Tyler Roberts wouldn't be exactly a fan's favourite either,
Yeah. But Roberts did well. He definitely made a difference.
They did well when they come on now.
He definitely did. Definitely. I just looking at it. There's just a comment there. I'm just going to answer just real quick. Just from Adam. Adam is actually a Real Madrid fan, so he has a bit of interest with Dani Ceballos and Odegaard. Was Odegaard any good? To be honest, I thought Odegaard, his link-up play was very good today. His 1-2s, I was quite impressed. He wasn't. Maybe.
For a guy that just came into the team, I put him down as a very solid performance. He's 1-2 touches. His link-up play, as you said, very good. I give him about a 7.5 out of 10 for his overall performance. He got taken off at the end, but
I thought he wasn't down in the first half. Well, very good.
Yeah,
he should have. done well in the first half, so he did.
Yeah, his work rate was very, very good. And that is something I noticed, Paul, as you said, I was very encouraged, not just by Arsenal's start, but the closing down. As you said, we had such a high line, we made it difficult for the Leeds defence to get out. And
exactly,
Aubameyang was like centre forward. At times you could see him pushing back to his spot on the left-hand side, and Odegaard was almost taking that spot in the middle in terms of closing down. And you had Saka, Odegaard and Aubameyang. And it makes such a difference. Like when you're closing down from the front, it makes such a difference. So very encouraging.
Well, all good football teams defend from the front.
Yeah.
You know?
Why isn't it done in every game then though? That's what I don't understand. Like if it's working, like you can see Arsenal coming out there from the first minute, but in some games then they seem to be way off the pace. Like don't understand.
Yeah. When you look at it, like that's the Leeds way of playing, right? We closed down. You know, there was times there when Arsenal were camped in our half. There were times then when we pushed them back, did the exact same thing to them. And if you look at it, we'd have 5 players up front closing down your backs there at any time, you know. And Arsenal did the same to us. It didn't work for us today, but Arsenal made the most of it because they got the quick attacks going. And once the quick attacks going, you know, we weren't getting the ball back. You know, and like, you know, as they say then, when we had the ball in our back line, they put the pressure on us again. And that worked for them today.
Oh, 100%.
I think, I don't think we put enough of pressure on David Luiz, to be honest with you. You know, I think he was, if you look at our goal, the first goal from the corner, like Struijk just ran past him, you know.
Yeah. And in fairness, for that goal, and now again, look, David Luiz isn't getting away on a free pass on this one. David Luiz was standing there and he didn't even know Struijk was running in. It was actually Bukayo Saka was marking him, but straight away, alarm bells are ringing for me there because David Luiz should be probably marking him. Bukayo Saka should be marking him.
Yeah.
This was my point yesterday. That's what Bamford should have been doing to David Luiz all day.
Oh,
you know, not
down and waiting. He should have been on his shoulder waiting for a ball like that, you know. And that's like the two players I highlighted yesterday. You know, one scored and one, you know, I won't say he caused the goal, but he actually did nothing to defend it. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Oh no, that's it. It just goes to show, like I said, there is a mistake in Arsenal and in David Luiz. And again, look, I'm not putting the blame on David Luiz. Maybe I'm blaming him sort of for his lack of awareness. Like, he was standing there ball watching. He was anticipating a clearance, and he had no idea who was making a run behind him. And like, you know, that's the sign of a defender who's not switched on. Again, okay, we're all man marking, whatever, but straight away, you know, I always like, you know, centre back to sort of mark centre back. Like, you know, the guys are big, physical, good in the air. Makes sense to have your big, physical in the air players mark these guys. Like Bukayo Saka, why he was left on that, lads?
Is that Arteta's fault or whose fault?
If that was Arteta's instruction, if that's Arteta's instruction, he's completely at fault. If that was the players just not being switched on and like that, you know, this is where, like I said, David Luiz, he has a certain extent some leadership qualities, but that's where, like, if you had Tony Adams and Sol Campbell, they're not letting a man, you know, run by them. You know, they're switched on. They have a man, and they're telling the other guys who's free and who to be marking. This is where we don't have that leader. We don't have the guy that's turning around going, you know, free man at the box, man coming in here, you know, who's marking this guy? And as you can see, it definitely cost us. And Paul, you were actually saying that you were a bit concerned about Leeds being caught from the set pieces, but you could see our defensive frailties from set pieces.
Yeah. You never troubled us in set play.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everything came from open play. Like on another day, you could have had 6 or 7 there. So you hit the post and you hit the crossbar. You know, 2 lovely shots.
Yeah.
I see this one spends too much time on the ball. Normally he gets away with it, but it's not today. Well, once again, as I said earlier on, Pierce, that's just a case of this is Bielsa ball. When the defender is in trouble, he's pushing it back. And it's not the first time this season that it's happened, you know, that Meslier has been, you know, it's cost us a few goals already this season. But
you can't blame the keeper because he's only doing what he's trained to do, you know. And like I coach myself, and as I say to kids, when you lose the ball and there's a goal scored against you, look at I can't blame you for that because that's what I taught you to do this week, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Bielsa, you know. He's the same faith in them players, you know, and he's not going to have a go at Meslier for that after the game, you know. They might have a talk about it, you know, and say you need to be better, you know. But he's not going to give out to him because he's playing exactly to the game plan that Bielsa has set out, you know. So it's unfortunate that happened to him, you know. A lot of people blamed him for the first goal as well for his positioning. But once again, Squidger, you said it. Luke Ayling didn't do himself any favours there by not. No, there was two players there on that ball when that ball came in, and they should have.
It was a good finish by Aubameyang, but he kept stepping off him. But I think if you looked at the first 15, 20 minutes of the match today, I'd say Meslier had the most touches out of any player on the pitch.
Yeah.
You know, so it's obviously that's the way Bielsa has them set up, and it's good. Like, obviously mistakes are going to happen for goalkeepers. You've seen it the other day with Alisson. The last 2 games Alisson played in, and Alisson's one of the best keepers in the world. Like, you could say, people could argue that point, but like Meslier, he took a bad touch. If he didn't take the bad touch, you know, he would have just played it out. But even mistakes are going to happen.
You look at Meslier, going back to Pierce's comment there. If you look at Meslier again after that, even in the second half, once the ball was played back to him, he had time on the ball. There was no pressure on him. You know, Arsenal sat back. And it's once again going back to your point again, Anthony, that you switch off.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't put that pressure on him. If you look at the second half again, every time Meslier got the ball, he wasn't pressured. Yeah. And if you know, when you know that the keeper has already messed up, you know, in the first half, well, sure, naturally, the thing is, stay at him, get him a yellow card, get him sent off. You know, they didn't do it. You know, he had plenty of time in the second half. And that's where a lot of our attacks are coming from as well. You must the feed out from Meslier, you know, is the ball that sets up the attack, you know. And you have to, you know, if you let us do that to you, then we're going to hurt you. And it happened twice today. You know,
he's only a young keeper as well. He's only learning his trade as well. Do you know what I mean? So he's one.
You know,
I keep rating him
25 or 26. You know, so he's a good. I'd say we'll struggle to hold on to this fella. I'd say bigger teams.
I think so too. Anto, it's just what did you make of William coming on and Pepe staying on the bench? Because I seen William walking around the pitch for the last, however long he was on, 15, 20 minutes. I think he touched the ball once or twice.
Yeah, look, I understand. As I said, he obviously came into this game. I think Arteta surprised himself with this game. I think the team surprised Arteta. I definitely don't think it was part of the plan that we were going to go out there and score 4 goals today. I think he was going to go out there, use who he used, keep it tight enough, but you know what? Our main focus has been Benfica on Thursday. I think that's why he rested Lacazette. I think that's why, you know, he wasn't using Rob Holding. I think that's why he wasn't using Pepe. I think he would have gone into this game, and I honestly think if we had got a draw out of this game, I think Arteta would have been happy enough with that. I don't believe that lineup was really, really set up to actually go out and do what we ended up doing. So I can understand that he didn't want to risk Pepe in the end. He seems to, I think he's caught in between a rock and a hard place with Pepe and William. He was looking to hold on to the lead and he was looking to do a bit of defending, obviously, at that stage. And I think it's a case of which one can defend slightly better than the other, because let's be honest, they're both terrible when it comes to tracking back and doing the defensive work. You're not going to get that from either of them. I can only presume he was looking to preserve Pepe for the Thursday night game. I'm hoping that, because I can't see any sense in bringing Willian on other than just save a player from coming on, because he offered nothing again. Nothing at all he offered.
Do you move Aubameyang back out onto the left wing then after scoring a hat-trick today?
See, that's it again. That's what you're up against now.
We had this discussion before.
100%.
He's out, he was man in the match today. It was between himself and Saki. You'd have to give it to Aubameyang because he got the hat trick.
Yeah, but exactly.
You move him then? He hit the post hit the post as well. But do you move him now? Who do you drop for Pepe then?
See, that's the thing now. See, this is the problem you have with Pepe, especially with Arteta. Pepe seems to be dispensable. So as well as Pepe has looked like he's come on the last couple of weeks, I wouldn't be surprised now if Arteta sort of says, "Oh, well, that's fine. I've got Aubameyang back firing again, so Pepe, I can leave him back on the bench again." Wouldn't surprise me at all. I'd imagine against Benfica, look, he's rested Lacazette. I can see Lacazette playing, and I can't see the sense. If you really want to go for it for the Europa League, if that is our way back into Europe, which I believe it's our only realistic route back into Europe. Not saying we're going to win the Europa League. I just don't think a top 6 finish. I don't think it's realistic.
I don't know, to be honest with you, Anthony, because if you look at the league, West Brom getting a 1-1 draw with Manchester United today. You have to win 2 or 3 games on the trot, and you're up there. We're back in it.
Yeah,
it's the most unpredictable league, this most unpredictable season I've ever seen.
You do that, it's going to let you do it, And it's the same with Leeds. We're no different. 2 or 3 wins, and we're up there as well, And I think the league is actually going to let you do that. So it is, But today is just a lesson, that this is the way you should be playing your football, not just sitting back all the time. Maybe, making teams make mistakes, get the goals, get the penalties, that should be the lesson for today for Arsenal. You're talking about Lacazette, right? And him coming in on Thursday night. If he was there today, what would that score have been? Because he runs your team.
Yeah.
He runs your team.
Yeah.
And if he
I
definitely
think having Aubameyang there today as opposed to Lacazette, I think definitely worked in their favour, because for me, Lacazette is more of a hold-up sort of player. Like, he's trying to link the play and spread it out maybe for the wingers, whereas Aubameyang is just a bit more direct. You play the ball on for him to run to, and you get better results. And I tell you, as an Arsenal fan, it was so nice to see glimpses of the old Aubameyang. He's still not 100% there.
But that'll bring him on. That'll bring him on leaps and bounds now. He's a bit of a confidence player, so he is. If he gets going.
If you think of it, that's his last 2 performances. Because remember, he played against Newcastle and got 2 goals, and then he was out for a while because his mother was unwell.
Issues,
So that's his first. So that's in his last 2 games. He's got 5 goals now. So there is signs now. He is that kind of. I don't even know where to call him a striker anymore, because he's almost a bit like Henry. As even when he's in the centre, he drifts out wide to the left. He's almost more of a winger than a. He's not a traditional centre forward, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's never been part of his game that he's been like an Henry, a ball carrier. He gets the ball and he's going to beat everyone and score. He's that kind of player. He's kind of a low touch player. But if you can even just get his finishing back, that's major. If he only has 2 or 3 touches a game, but he's putting those chances away, like, you've seen what his goals did for us last season, and people were saying it last season. You imagine if you took Aubameyang's goals out of Arsenal, where would they be? We'd be a mid to bottom half table team, and that's exactly what we've been without Aubameyang's goals this season. So hopefully he can finish the season strong.
But if you look back at the last 2 seasons, what have Arsenal's struggles been in the last 2 seasons? Because for the last 2 seasons, you've been lucky to make Europe. And in fairness, this is a team, a club that we're not about, that for 20 years were the Champions League team. Now you're only looking at you get the cup qualification. The last 2 to 3 seasons. What is it that's going wrong with Arsenal? That you're now looking at a top 6 instead of winning the Premiership or being top 4.
Yeah. We took it for granted.
Listen, go for it. Don't be afraid of it.
Oh yeah.
Go for the jugular, as to say. I would say today was the lesson in football. You're after closing down a very good team today. You put 4 goals past a team that can as easily put 4 goals past you, and you limit it up to 2,
So, and the thing about Leeds is we scored from a corner today. We don't score from corners. You know?
Yeah.
And we're actually pretty solid with defending set pieces this season. If you look at the stats this season, we're actually pretty solid. But again, I don't know whether that takes into account with David Luiz on the pitch, are we solid, or is that when we had Holding and Pablo Marie and the other lads? But look,
in all fairness, it was a serious corner in from Rafinha as well. It was exactly where you want the corner to be. Like, so I know
it's true. Met up with his head, and the power was in the ball.
You don't.
I'm delighted for him getting a goal today because he could have had a hat trick earlier in the week against Palace, all from corners as well. And I'm delighted he got that goal. Like, he's still only a kid; he's 21. He is a big future in the club. And I hope other clubs take notice of him as well. Because the player got.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, positive signs, definitely positive signs. Look, that could be an aspect of Leeds' game now that you might not have known was there with him being prolific in the air like that. So, like, if he can do it against us, and as I said, our defensive record has been very good this season, our set record. So,
it's something we've been missing for the last few seasons is a centre half that can just come onto the ball like that, bang in a goal with. He made that. It was a lovely run, the lovely jump. The header was beautiful, and when you see a ball flying into the net at that speed, you just, it just makes a great goal. And I think, I hope this is the making of him, that he goes on and does a few more this season. I'd like to see him get another 3 or 4 from corners. And we need it.
Every team needs a central defender chipping in with a few goals. So.
Yeah,
it's crucial. Van Dijk, the year Liverpool won the league, or last season, how many goals did Van Dijk score last season?
But even this season, like, he scored against us in the first game of the season. He said, corner. Liverpool's goal was from Van Dijk header, like,
something I noticed from the game today. I was a little bit concerned, as I was saying yesterday, with no Thomas Partey for various reasons. Not having Partey, I was a bit worried. But what I noticed from Partey and Arsenal in the Wolves game, for anyone who watched the Wolves game, the first half up to that penalty incident, we had an obvious game plan that game, and that was Thomas Partey, ball over the top for Bukayo Saka to run onto in behind the defenders. I could see that in our play today, but it wasn't coming. Obviously, Partey wasn't on the pitch. I could actually see that from David Luiz. Now, it wasn't really working because we were playing it from the centre back, but I could actually see that. And this seems to be something that seems to be part of Arteta's play. He's obviously identified ball in over the top behind the wing backs, Saka running in on it, and it causes all sorts of problems. And there was times today, obviously Saka got in. But again, I was talking yesterday about, David Luiz. Whatever you say about David Luiz as a defender, he has that range of passing. We didn't call
100%. He's a ball playing defender.
Yeah.
I seen him for years at Chelsea. He definitely has that in the locker. Like, he's a ball playing defender. They were on about moving him to centre defensive midfielder at Chelsea there for a while. When we were stuck in that position, because he has that ability. But
like in the first half today, lads, Luiz, he made some runs. How many times did he get into the Leeds penalty area?
Yeah,
he goal actually.
He made a serious 1-2 with. He made a serious 1-2 for the goal for.
Yeah, he was giant, but like that. Maybe he's good going forward. Maybe you're right. Push him up ahead with centre half or something like that,
Yeah.
But, he was very good coming forward today, so he was,
Oh, definitely. I like that. About 27 minutes in.
Jesus. Yeah. I was looking at David saying, that's not their fucking centre half and our penalty area is. He's carrying the ball.
We were 1-0 up at that stage. It was about 27 minutes in. David Luiz went on a run and he linked up 1-2. Bukayo Saka got the ball, gave it to Aubameyang, and I think it was Luke Ayling got himself in the way, went out for a corner.
That's
and
right.
It was this guy.
Yeah, and that was all set up by David Luiz.
Yeah.
You know,
He does that every now and again. It's just it's the other end of the pitch. You want to be worried about David Luiz. That's the problem.
Exactly.
That is, you know, that's what was something we didn't exploit today. You know, we should have exploited it.
Bamford and Rafinha. I thought they were like I don't know what's in Arsenal's tactics to take especially Rafinha out of the game. Like Bamford was up front by himself, but Rafinha didn't get on the ball much at all today.
They were quiet. Yeah.
If you look a lot of the ball that was played forward today, we played in the air. You know, Bamford was jumping on for it and he was trying to flick it onto Rafinha. We didn't give enough of ball to ground today coming from out from the back. You know, we were up to them rather than placing it up to them. You know, and once again that was down to Arsenal's pressing. But if you look every time Bamford went for the ball today, look how close the defender was on him. You know?
Actually, the very first minute, the very first ball to come in for Bamford, David Luiz came in the back of him and fouled him, and that was not what was happening for the rest of the game, but it was a message. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Wing that time, on the right wing that time. He went through him that time, You know, in olden day football, that's something you'd have always told your defender to do. Let him know you're there.
Oh, 100%.
You know, and like today, you know. But having said that, you know, I think we should have exploited David Luiz more. You know, like yesterday, that was my game plan to go at him.
Definitely. Well, there's in there from Keith Cross. He's saying he's sick. Arsenal are a bad team. Leeds made them look world class. They were there for the taking. Sick. And look, definitely, as I said, Paul, I was texting you even at 4-0. And look, I'm an Arsenal fan, and it might just be the pessimist inside me, but I wasn't confident. I actually wasn't.
I was impressed with Arsenal today, I have to say.
Oh, first half, like we were unbelievable. But there's always we have a great ability for potentially being able to just bottle it. You know what I mean? We're masters of our own demise at times. We really are. Yeah. It goes back to the Wolves game. That was probably the best. I'll call it 44 minutes of football up to that penalty in the 45th. The best 44 minutes of football I've seen from us all season. But we were only 1-0. On another day, we could have been 3 or 4-0 up. We lacked that cutting edge. I was looking at that game today, and I actually said the missus was watching the game, and we were 4-0 up. And I was actually a little bit annoyed. And she was a bit like, you're 4-0 up. And I was saying, it's Arsenal. We will go asleep. And I said, look, if this is Man City, this game finishes 8 or 9-0. I was like, this is Arsenal. We are going to concede. I'm going to be left sweating at some point over this game. You know, I don't know what it is. Maybe we're just too nice. And I've had this conversation with Arsenal fans in the past. We're just too nice. We just don't have that killer instinct. And I know that sounds mad because we scored 4 goals today. So we obviously showed a bit of killer instinct. But to even be allowed to go to sleep like that, like if I'm Arteta, I'm actually going to be a little bit annoyed at that.
Yeah.
You don't have a captain on your team. I know Aubameyang is your captain, but in my opinion, he's not captain material.
He's not a leader. He's not a
leader. He's your best player. Don't get me wrong. He doesn't like. If you're talking about captain, you need leadership qualities. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Arsenal don't have.
You know, you need a strong player to be a captain.
Yeah,
a captain has to be. You know, like even Liam Cooper at Leeds there now has had the captaincy there now for the last 4 years. You know, now if you watched him on the pitch, you know there's always a mistake in him. You know, but in the last few weeks, Liam Cooper has been very good, and our back 4 in general have been good. You know, but it was a different game, and it's like I said, I wouldn't really agree with Keith that Arsenal are a bad team and we made them look world class. They actually made us look bad today, so they did. You know, Arsenal did not look bad. You know, they put us on the back 4, and we didn't really handle it too well. You know, now as we said. Would it have been different with Calvin Phillips there? I don't think so. Not at the speed you were attacking us and not at the way you were closing us down. I don't think it would have mattered. You know, if we had Messi up front, we weren't getting the ball up front, you know. Yeah. And that was all down to
Arsenal the way they were like you defend from the front. That's what they did today. You know, and you know, as I said, maybe that's your way forward now. You know, now you know you can do it.
Exactly.
Do it to every team.
I definitely think when I looked at our performance against Southampton, we beat Southampton, and Southampton, I'd say after Leeds are probably the most intense, you know, high line attacking, closing down style. Like they're very, very good. Hassan Huttle's done a great job. He has them well drilled, well organised. We played that kind of a style against them. We sort of matched them, and I think this has to be the blueprint. I think for Arteta going forward now. Like he's got himself the blueprint. I think he's got to stick with it now. I think he's finally found his formation and his style. You know, that we've all been looking for a long time. He's been a bit too kind of reserved. He's not much of a risk taker. I think this is time now for Arteta to just say, look, this is it. This is the way we have to play going forward. You can see the results we've got out of it.
Do you think it's because
the only thing you have to do, you have to sustain it for 90 minutes. No, you can't just do it for
and a lot of that is we need to keep the head as much as the fitness. We need to keep the focus.
Yeah, but you had Saka.
Yeah.
One.
Sorry, Paul. You had Saka, Odegaard, and Emile Smith-Rowe across the let's say the attacking midfielder area of the pitch. Like they're young lads. Like they have the appetite. Do you go with them again? Or do you bring on like you said, Pepe? He doesn't track back. He does. Do you go with the youth who's showing you on the pitch that they're willing to give more?
Yeah.
Like today, they never let up. Exactly. In the first half, anyway, they never let up.
Yeah, they have the desire and the hunger. You know, go with them.
That's a very valid point, because if you look at the Leeds team, that's exactly what we have. You know, like Calvin Phillips is only 22 or 23. You know, you have Struijk is only 21. You know, like if you look, Shackleton today is only 20. You know, Costa isn't old. Rafina is only 20 or 19 or 20. You know, and these are the players that's in the team. You know, 4 or 5 lads in early 20s are just approaching 20. You know, and I remember we were in the championship. People used to say to me, "You need good, experienced players to get you out of the championship." I said, "No way. You need young players that can run for 90 minutes."
Yeah, you need a mixture of both. You definitely need a couple of old heads to kind of when the pressure's on, whatever. But you need, you need a youth. Chelsea showed it there last year when we had the transfer ban. And Frank Lampard's hand was forced, so they had to bring players through the academy, and you see the likes of Mason Mount coming through there and Tammy Abraham, they would have never got the chance if it wasn't for the transfer ban. And then to go out and show it to
I would think really they only got the chance. Mason Mount was on loan at Derby with Frank Lampard. And Abraham was out on loan with Aston Villa. And he had a good season with Aston Villa.
He was banging in the goals for Aston Villa.
Like you say, your hands were tied. You had to play them, you know, because of the embargo, you know. But Chelsea have spent millions this year, and where are they?
But that's actually my point. Like because you're able to buy players, then you're nearly forced to buy. You have to buy players. Yeah, you're nearly forced to
pressure to spend now.
Do you know what I mean?
Pressure, you know, that he had to spend. But it's almost like kind of similar to Arteta with Arsenal, like talking about, you know, your hand being forced with the youth. Same thing happened to us. Results were going completely the wrong direction, and he was using, like Squidger, you said you have to have a balance of youth and, you know, older heads. I definitely think that's true as long as you have the right older heads. Now, if you look at Arsenal's experienced players, like I said, you haven't really a leader amongst the older heads.
There's no way what happened to Arsenal today, you know, when they were 4-0 up or whatever, and then they just completely go out of the game. If Patrick Vieira is in the middle of the field there and you're 4-0 up, you don't concede. No. And if you concede one, like he's going around, he'll ate the players. I actually heard a good. I watched Heung-min Son's documentary there the other day, and he was talking to Thierry Henry in it, And he was saying that Arsenal's mentality back when they were the Invincibles or whatever, back around that time, Lehman was in goals for you anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he said that like we could be 6-0 up, and if we concede one, he said we'll go in, and Lehman will absolutely go mad in the dressing room. He said, "Do you think it's fair for me that you go out there and you score 6 goals, and then I actually have to go home tonight after conceding a goal? Do you think it's right?" And he said that I don't think you've any of that in the Arsenal side at the minute.
Oh no, we haven't had that for the longest time. But like going back to that Invincibles team, or even Loren, who was the right back, he used to tell stories about every training session. He said there was fights on the training ground every training session, and he said it wasn't because we disliked each other. He said we all had such drive to win that even in training, he said, we were kicking lumps out of each other because we didn't even want to lose a training game. That's how badly they wanted to win.
That's not just Arsenal now. That's gone out of football. The majority of teams.
I was just about to say that. Manchester United don't exactly have a Steve Bruce or a Roy Keane now.
No.
For making mistakes, But if you look at Bielsa on the sideline, we could be winning 4-0, and you make a straight pass, and he'll hop off you.
That's the way it has to be. You can't rest on your morals. It always has to be about the next player. You can't be over 4-0 up. We'll canter around here or canter around for
I'm glad you made this point, and I one of the reasons why is I often see players, they'll pop up in a game, right, and they'll score a goal, and that goal could be a 1-1 draw, right, and all of a sudden they're heroes. But for 90 minutes, they could have done nothing in a game. They were totally absent, and that 1 minute and that one goal turns into something that they're not, and I don't like that kind of a player. I think player on a pitch, you're on a pitch for 90 minutes, you play it for 90 minutes. Like I actually couldn't believe when I saw Jack Harrison being taken off today. Even though he didn't do it, he gave the ball away every time in the first half. He got one cross into the box, and you must remember Bamford had the header, right? Then Josefina switched wings. Then he had a great chance to score himself.
Yeah, with his bad foot.
All he had to do was bend that ball with his right foot into the far corner goal. But he had to take that touch and put it on the left foot and kick it straight at the keeper. So obviously Bielsa wasn't happy with what he saw either, because he's not saving them for anything during the week.
Well, what do you make, Paul? What do you make of Bielsa? Just in terms of, it's just a comparison with what I've seen from Arsenal fans. When things aren't going right, obviously it's easy to criticize the manager, and people have said about Arteta, he hasn't got the passion and the desire. I think that's completely, if you watch him, he's always shouting on the sideline and he's always animated. What do you make of Bielsa? Like, he's kind of famous for that, kind of crouching, and he's sort of blank faced. Do you make anything, like, do you read into that? Say 4-0 down, he's kind of down on his knees and he's quiet, and
I actually don't. I actually, some years ago when we had Brian McDermott, I'll just go into a quick rundown of a few managers here. We had Brian McDermott, right? And Brian McDermott used to pace up and down the technical area. You see? And then he'd pick up a bottle, he'd take a sip of it, and he'd throw it to the ground. And I hated that. And then we had Steve, what's his name? We had himself from Paul Rayner, the fucking Dumb and Dumber, I used to call them, And even talking about them now gives me a fucking headache. One thing at one player, and the other be shouting another thing at another player, and the players just didn't have a clue what was going on. You see Elsa kneeling down on the ground, right? But he's still watching what's going on the pitch.
Oh well, he always looks focused and calm, like he's not like.
And that's exactly what you should be doing as a manager. Even as a coach, you should be watching what's going on out on the pitch. The only problem Bielsa has at the minute, we don't have the strength and depth as a team. You know, we don't have it. So he's working with what he has, right? Like today, you must look at that team today, you know, and like you seen the thing coming up there a while ago saying we made G look world class, right? But today, you saw 10 players from the championship out there.
Yeah, 100%.
One that wasn't there was Rafina, you know.
Yeah.
He's the only one. And even the 2 subs that came on, the 3 subs that came on actually, one is still 23s, and the other 2 were championship players as well last season, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's often a comment I don't like, you know, like if a team wins and wins well, and then someone turns around and says, well, we made that team look good, it completely takes away from the good that team actually did.
Exactly. That's very true.
I think it's an unfair comment. Like, okay, there is times where, you know, let's say, for example, if Leeds were completely at fault for 4 goals, completely at fault, you could maybe make an argument to say, well, look, Leeds sort of gave you that. They made it easy for you. But I definitely think it takes away from the hard work Arsenal did do. And
100%. Arsenal, as good as I've seen Arsenal play this season was in the first half today against Leeds.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And as Paul said, Arteta got his tactics spot on. You have to give them credit for that. Like, they didn't let Leeds play their normal game, and that's what won. That's what won it for Arsenal.
That's winning the game, exactly. Yeah. And that's what, if you know that's how to beat a team, well, then go out and do it to them. You know, like there's other teams like to park the bus and hit us on the break. You know, sometimes it'll work, but a lot of times it won't work. You know, even the championship last season, it got us out of the championship last season. Teams there coming on, and we getting a scrappy 1-0 win, you know. And, you know, okay, today we came back and we got 2 goals in the second half, you know.
Yeah.
Another day we could have had 2 more, you know.
Oh, easy,
But another day Arsenal could have had another 2 more as well. So it's, you know,
the thing is, like the Arsenal dressing room at half time, did you say, okay, this game's over, we're 3-0 up. We'll take it easy now.
That's what it looked like. That's
what it felt like to me. Yeah, that's what it. Actually, in fairness, right? We went in 3-0 up, and then we came out on the 46th minute. We made it 4-0. Now again, that was maybe we held our Costa a little bit cold. He was only on the field. He was Italian a little bit, and Cedric took it off him, and that led to Smith Rowe's ball into Aubameyang. So maybe we just caught him a little bit cold.
Yeah. He took the ball off our own player, you know, Costa did. And then he turned in and went back towards his own goal with the ball instead of just boom, going forward, you know. And it was just taken off him so easy, like, you know. Exactly. But having said that, you know, okay, I won't say he was got cold. It was very naive what he did to turn around like that. You know? Like if you're in a position looking forward, you go forward, don't go back.
Yeah.
But like, okay, did he redeem himself by scoring a goal? You know, it was a great finish. You know,
brilliant finish.
That's
the exact same ones quite a few times. You know, but you know, as I said, Bamford wasn't in the game today. He wasn't allowed into the game. You know, so there again, you have to give it to Arteta today. Like, Rafina didn't have much of an impact today. Like Harrison is another player there with a big impact in games. He was substituted. You know, Bamford didn't get a sniff, got 1 header, you know.
Yeah.
So there you go. You have to give it to Arteta. He did his job, and he put players on the pitch that were there to see to Leeds that we couldn't do what we normally do, and they did it. And, you know, that's what you call good performance. You know, as you said.
I think you're definitely spot on, and I hope it's like there are a section of the Arsenal fans who, no matter what, are going to be Arteta out. Excuse me, and I'm hoping that, you know, they will at least acknowledge today he did, especially in the first half, he got it 100% correct today, and I hope he gets the credit. I really do. Like I said, a lot of people are against Bellerin. Okay, whatever about the goal that went in. people were saying, okay, he was sloppy, but look at the goal he scored and look at what he did in the first half and look at his overall performance. Instead of just pinpointing that one little error, look at the overall. And we definitely, just as a fan base, we need to just start praising, when we get it right, irrespective of your feeling on the manager or the player or whatever. If they get it right, they get it right. We can be afraid to say how it is, and it almost comes back to the decision that I said earlier. I don't feel it was a penalty. The first one, I don't feel when Saka went down, I don't feel it was a penalty. And he's the popular guy, so obviously a lot of people are getting defensive about it. And I came out and I said I didn't feel it was a penalty. I said he played the game. Okay, yeah, go to VAR all you want, and you can show contact. But as we keep saying, it comes down to common sense. Common sense says, irrespective of the contact, he played the game. He knew the contact was coming. He went down. Loved the guy, but it wasn't a penalty. It just wasn't. It just wasn't.
I like to think when you look at a decision like that, what I like to do is I like to think if that happened to me, if that happened to Chelsea, what would I be thinking? And would I be still shouting, "No, penalty! It's a penalty"? Because common sense has to prevail in situations.
It's exactly what I said, but it's exactly what I said to the guys that said to me. Like I had a few people messaging saying, "What do you mean? It was contact. It was this. It was that." And I said, if that was given against us, this would be another case of Arsenal fans saying, well, the ref is against us. There's a conspiracy against us. These refs are giving all the decisions to the other team. 100% we'd be all over that. That would be another game that we'd be saying, oh, the refs are against us. They're this, they're that. I was like, no. Look, wasn't for me. Just wasn't. And look, he got his penalty then with the Meslier one. And look, maybe we talk about that one. What were your initial feelings on? Do you think there was enough in that to warrant the penalty?
The Meslier,
the one that was given.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely penalty, 100%. If Saka gets his foot in front of Meslier's foot just before Meslier goes to get the ball, he kicks Saka's foot. Definite penalty, 100%.
Yeah, we got one like that early in the season. Actually, I actually can't remember. Maybe if there's anybody in the chats that might refresh my memory. We got one, and I know Pepe scored the penalty. I think it was Maitland-Niles. Somebody was clearing the ball in the box, and Maitland-Niles got there before him. And as he was swinging to clear the ball, he took Maitland-Niles out. So it was kind of similar to that, player not 100% switched on. The other guy...
West Brom, no?
No, we beat... I'm nearly sure it was a game. I think we might have drawn maybe 1-1 or something, and I think that might have been our equaliser. I could be way off. I'm nearly sure.
I don't know why that's coming to my head.
But I know Pepe scored, and I know Maitland-Niles won it. I can't for the life of me remember. I can hardly remember what happened yesterday, let alone going back a few months ago.
I think that's an interesting comment there from Piers Cox. Leeds United squad cost 195 million versus Arsenal's 555 million. All considered a fair result. Yeah. I find it hard to see where Leeds 195 million. Where did they spend that?
But at the same time, it says there Leeds squad and Arsenal squad. Now, if you look at Arsenal squad that was on the pitch, Smith Rowe was free because he's from the youth system. Bukayo Saka's free. He came from the youth system. Martin Odegaard is on loan, so we haven't actually paid for him. We paid a loan fee for him. Danny
is on loan.
We paid a loan fee. Willian came on. He's free. Yeah, okay. Aubameyang was about 60 million. Lacazette on the bench was about 50 million. Pepe was 72 million. These guys weren't, aside from Aubameyang, they weren't actually on the pitch, So, there was a couple of, like David Luiz was free. There were a couple of big signings, 35 million for Granit Xhaka. Bellerin, again, we took from Barcelona as a youth, so we might have paid a nominal fee, if even. I think it was 15, 16. So, again, Cedric was a free.
Yeah, so, if
I don't always, you see it all the time. Oh, this team costs so much to put together, and that team costs so much to put together.
Yeah. And
you see that constantly in football. I'll go back. I don't go for that one thing in football. I don't. For me, football on any given day, it doesn't matter how much it costs to put a team together. Football is 11-11.
Yeah.
And it's how you set your team up. It's how a manager sets it up. And I'm going to give you a prime example of it. Squidger, you won't like me saying this to you, but a few years ago there, Chelsea played Bradford in the FA Cup, right?
Yeah.
A team that was worth 500 million played a team that was put together only cost about £60,000. They were a League One team. Chelsea were 2-0 up at half time, and Bradford won that game 4-2.
I remember it.
550 million versus 60,000 there.
Yeah, you don't even have to look back that far, Paul, because we played Barnsley in the FA Cup there last week, and Barnsley were the better side.
Yeah,
exactly.
Chelsea won 1-0, but Barnsley were the better side.
Yeah, and if they had VAR, that game would have been that goal would have been ruled out.
They showed a picture from the other side of the pitch, and they drew in an imaginary line themselves, and it looked like he was onside. I'm not saying that as a point. That's what they said. Like it wasn't VAR or anything now, but that's what they drew it themselves. Let's say, but I'm not sure. But go back to the point. Like Barnsley, by far the better team. How much did the Barnsley team cost compared to your Chelsea's hundreds and hundreds of millions? Like.
Yeah, well, it's almost like I think it was Pep Guardiola made a comment. Didn't Man City play? Was it Cheltenham they played a couple of weeks ago in the cup? I think it was Cheltenham.
Yeah,
and he sort of said, like, you know, with regards, you know, a team like Cheltenham and a team like Man City, and the players cost this much on Man City's team, and the players cost this much on Cheltenham, and he said, at the end of the day, every player starts out like a Cheltenham player. You know, we all start out in someone's youth team. We all start out as a Sunday League player. We all cost nothing at the start. It's all, you know, work your way through the ranks, and then, you know, clubs and agents and whoever, you know, managers are deciding how much you're actually valued at. But at the end of the day, we all started the very, very same. So I know, okay, we always slap a price tag on someone, and of course, if the underdog beats, you know, the Premier League side, you always go, that's a side that cost 400 million as opposed to a team that was assembled for 100 grand. But like you try telling Jamie Vardy he's a £1 million player after signing from Fleetwood, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You know, it's like Jamie Vardy, I love that whole story of Vardy. Like, you know, I think that's a football story, you know.
Yeah,
that's
a fairy tale story.
It is. You actually come from nothing. You get a go in a Premiership team, and before you know it, you're a Premier League champion, and you're the top scorer in the league. You know,
and you're breaking records for consecutive games.
Yeah, and I tell you one thing, I honestly felt that if England had started him in the World Cup alongside Harry Kane, they'd have won the World Cup, lads.
You could be right.
Yeah, they'd have a good shot.
On the pitch before I had Sterling.
He's scary. He's scary.
And his level of skill is, and that fella will buy you a penalty out of nothing. Did you ever see him one-on-one with the keeper? Yeah. And he just, because he's going past the keeper.
But there's no let up from him at all. I'd hate to be a centre back marking him, to tell you the truth.
That's exactly. He destroyed us in the first game versus Leicester this year when they've been like, you know, after 2 minutes, he had one pass into the box and the ball was in the net, like, you know.
Yeah.
He's a serious player. I think that's a fabulous story, you know. Yeah. I think that he is a fabulous football story, you know. And I honestly felt he should have got a better. They should have used him better in the World Cup that time, you know. Yeah. I think if they played him in the World Cup, they'd have won the World Cup, you know.
I tell you, he'd be a dangerous player in that Leeds team. If he was a couple of years younger, with the way he plays, he'd be a dangerous player in that Leeds team. He'd be
a dangerous player in any team, so he wouldn't.
Oh yeah, true.
You know,
Arsenal missed out on him a couple of seasons ago, didn't they?
I was only reading a comment today from Arsene Wenger about that, saying that, you know, Arsenal had made an offer and Leicester had accepted it, and as they'd accepted it, as in, you know, they'd accepted, look, if he's gonna go, we can't really stop him. And Arsenal had made an offer to Vardy, but because Leicester wanted him to stay that bad, they offered him more than what Arsenal offered and more years. And in the end, he said, "Well, look, I'm gonna stay at Leicester." You know.
No offense to Arsenal, but I think it's the right move for Vardy to stay at Leicester. He's a club hero all he's done. If he went to Arsenal and had 3 or 4 bad games and the fans getting on top of him, do you know what I mean? You do see it way too much in football. Whereas he's a god at Leicester, like. And plus the team, the tactics Leicester play suits Vardy. Their whole setup is around Vardy, like.
Yeah.
But I only go back to one thing about that. If he went to Arsenal under Arsene Wenger, look what Arsene Wenger,
that's a different story.
But Wenger was at the end of his career with Arsenal, you know, but like what have Leicester done since 2016? You know, like last season they could have finished top 4, didn't they? Or did they finish outside this? Did they?
Or did they?
Liverpool, Man City, Man United, and Chelsea were the top 4, weren't they?
They were going top 4 up until the last few games.
Yeah, they were flying it. They fell apart the last 8 or 9 games. They went on a horrible run.
They were second in the league going into today's games. You know, United only drawn, I think, second. You know, City or something.
I'd love it. When we sacked Frank Lampard. Before we signed Frank Lampard, where we got Frank Lampard as manager at Chelsea, I was hoping we get Brendan Rodgers.
I don't think he should go to a big like that. And I'll give you one reason why. He went to Liverpool.
He's a brilliant coach.
Yeah, maybe so. But he went to Liverpool, right? And he made the biggest mistake all managers make. He had half a season with them, so he had the team that he inherited. Then the transfer market came, and he just went and he bought everything. He bought 3 or 4 players from Southampton, you know. Yeah. And everything that came available, he bought it. And he spent millions. And where did they get him? They got him the sack, you know.
Yeah, but I have to say,
the answer, you know.
He had Liverpool playing as good a football as I've seen in the Premier League that year. And other than 1 or 2 slip-ups, no pun intended, Liverpool would have won the league. You know, I think Brendan Rodgers will end up at a big club and end up doing really well for them. That's my opinion.
A lot of people thought the same about David Moyes. You know, they thought he could leave Everton and run a big team, like, you know. But his career has tumbled since. You know.
Yeah. I think
a bit easier as well at Leicester because although they won the league, I don't think anyone was expecting them to maintain that kind of a challenge. Yeah. So if he can keep them up thereabouts, it's a massive success. Like if he was linked with the Arsenal job before Arteta, and it was supposed to be like there was fairly strong interest from both parties, but for whatever reason it never happened. He was at Celtic at the time, and it never happened. But yeah, you know, the Arsenal job, it's a thankless job. You know, if he's getting us, you know, in and around the top 4 mark, that's great for a season or 2. But then after that, people want you challenging for the league. And
I think the way football has gone now, fans have such high expectations that there's no such thing as a safe manager's job anymore. Like, you know, you have Spurs fans now are calling for the head of Mourinho. Yeah. And yet, when he came in, you know,
I've seen a couple of Liverpool fans saying Klopp, they want a Klopp out there with it.
Yeah, but you know, it's only 6 months ago he was a hero. You know,
but that's as you said, no manager's job is safe.
It's looking like now the way Leeds are at the minute that Bielsa is going to be in next season. You know, he's involved already.
So yeah,
he's already summer targets to Victor Orta. So it looks like, and it is the thing of his career where he only signs 1-year contract. So it looks like we will have Bielsa next season. You know, from what I know,
it's a match made in heaven, in my opinion. Bielsa likes that. Like Leeds they're a club with a very passionate fan base. Do you know that kind of way? Bielsa, he's a very passionate manager. I love having him. I love having him in the league. Love it.
There's talks now that Spurs are looking at him. They're going to sack Mourinho at the end of the season, and Bielsa is their prime target. You know.
That's hard. Jeez.
Yeah. No, the thing about it is, you know, he's kind of settled up in Leeds, and you know, he's already handed his summer targets to.
I hope. Yeah.
I know there's a scout in Galway at the minute doing a bit of work behind the scenes. and they're targeting a player from Serbia. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to come to Leeds, but from what I do know, he will be in the Premiership next season. I know the guy that's actually working as part of the deal here in Galway, He was part of getting a few young Leeds players into Leeds there at the end of the season. They're all in the 23s playing now. So there's quite a bit of activity going on with Leeds and the transfer market as well. But there's countries that people aren't tapping into for talent. The like Kosovo and Serbia. Exactly. There's plenty of good available in there, lads. And because we have 2 players in the Premiership at the minute, and there's no reason why they can't have more. And you'll get them cheap.
Definitely. It's like you said yesterday in terms of Leeds with the recruitment. It's been clever recruitment. And look, it's taken a little bit of time maybe for the guys to develop to the level that they're at now, but there's definitely players out there. Remember you were mentioning Ayling, who was ex-Arsenal, released at 18. They picked him up. Plenty of other players. And again, this is come back to kind of Arsenal a little bit. And it's another thing we discussed on a few different podcasts about the snobbery we have in the transfer market with regards to names. With the Arsenal fan base, a lot of the time, we want the Pepe for 72 million instead of at the time Ryan Fraser was available on a free transfer, and whatever about how Ryan Fraser's gone on now in Newcastle and whatever. At the time he was available. At the time he was playing Premier League football, international player. He had a lot of assists that season. He was available on a free transfer or else a small fee in January. But no, he wasn't good enough. We wanted the £72 million man, and I definitely think, for us to go forward, we need to switch up that mindset. We need to look outside the box. We don't have that Man City money to be spending on these players, and it's only ever going to go one way with a player like that. No matter what Pepe does, he's never going to justify 72 million.
No, it's from the get go. You're gone. Unless you come out and perform week in, week out, right from the start, you're gone. It's the exact same thing like with Werner now with Chelsea and Havertz. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. People are saying, they're young, give them time. But if you're spending 70 million on a player, you don't have time. You need to be performing now.
I'd say one thing about English football at the minute, that with the likes of Man City, Manchester United, they're finally beginning to bring through their English talent, But it's taken a long time. Like 2 seasons ago, there was 4 Premiership teams in a Champions League semi-final, right? Out of 44 players, only 7 of the starting players were English, Now, if you look at it, now, United have a fair few English players. City, and Foden is being talked about as the next big thing,
And he is going to be the next big thing, in my opinion.
So it's great to see young English talent coming again. It's great to see it at Arsenal,
Yeah.
Definitely. And you had your man on the sideline as well that didn't play today. Lad you were talking about yesterday. He's English as well, isn't he? What's his name? You were on about him there yesterday saying you'd like him to start against us today.
Who was that? I'm trying to think now. It wasn't. I know I was talking. I think a little bit about the Brazilian lad Martinelli. I think he was on the bench. Do you know what? I can't even remember who was on the bench.
It's great to see young English talent coming through and breaking into first team football in the top teams again.
Oh, sorry, because was it Eddie Nketiah?
Eddie Nketiah.
No, the lad you were talking about him there yesterday. I can't remember his name. If I went into live score there, it'll probably come up on it there. And obviously, might have been on the bench.
I'm going to go and have a look now because I actually, to be honest, I actually missed the full lineups. I seen the starting lineup. We've Callum Chambers and Rob Holding. Rob Holding, was it? He was Holding. I was back in. I was no. Yeah,
what age is Holding?
He's about 25, isn't he? About 25.
Is he?
Yeah. I was predicting 1-0 on a Rob Holding goal. So look, he got on the 88th minute, but yeah, I was a little bit off the mark, but I'll take it. I'll take it on the chin this time. But yeah, lads, look, I won't take too much more time because if you're like me, you probably have someone knocking on the door to let you know that the Valentine's dinner is ready. So just before I wrap it up, Paul, you have Wolves next. What you reckon? Leeds going to bounce back with a win? Wolves won today, 2-1.
They beat us in Elland Road 1-0 this season, and like Arsenal, they closed us down well as well, you know.
Yeah.
And that we have to be with it. But we're a better team away from home than we are at home. So I'd expect us. I think we'll overturn that one. I think we'll get them.
Yeah.
I think we'll beat them.
Other than today's result, Wolves haven't been going well at all. They're missing Jimenez big time up front.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we can overturn that one. I think we'll get them.
Yeah,
hopefully.
You know, we have to learn not to fuck around with the ball in the defense like we did today. You know,
exactly.
That's just. Hopefully, Calvin Phillips is back.
Yeah,
you know?
and it is something I know myself and Squidger and I have, and a few others I've spoke about. I personally, I understand it's part of the modern game. You know, you involve the goalkeeper, you use him as an asset for playing the ball back. Personally, I don't like it. I just think it invites a bit too much unnecessary pressure. I think it gets you out of a hole if he's able to do it.
I like it when a team is able to do it, like the likes of Man City, whatever. And Bielsa he has them able to do it, but there's a time to do it and there's a time not to do it.
Exactly.
And today wasn't the time. Today wasn't the time to be doing it.
You know, you have to. You know. The ball, the particular ball, the way it's played back, you have to lay a bit of the responsibility with the defender as well, you know.
Yeah.
Like he had time to get rid of that ball. He didn't have to go back to the keeper.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I know he's trained that way, but he could have played with a forward, you know.
I do see a lot of teams trying to play out of the back, and they give it to one of their central defenders on the 6-yard box. He plays it out to the right or left back, and then they end up kicking it up the field. So what's the just let the keeper clear it up like the likes of Man City. Pep kind of invented this kind of let the keeper play out from the back. Well, I'm sure there was he brought it to English football really, but other than Man City, I can't really see. Bielsa's good at it.
Did Pep get that from Bielsa though? Because doesn't he idolizes Bielsa and follows sort of everything. Maybe that's where it came from. But yeah, look, again, lads, I really do appreciate the time and everyone that was watching and threw the comments in. As always, really, really appreciate it. So don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And just before I go, Paul, give yourself a shout out there. Let everybody know about the Leeds Facebook page.
Well, we have the West of Ireland Leeds United Supporters Group. We also run Galway Whites, the Leeds United Supporters Group. And as I said, once we're back, we'll be doing our regular bus trips over again. All the lads from Dublin there and Cork, the Cork lads. Jesus, you don't want to go drinking with a few Cork lads. They start squabbling amongst themselves, you know, about who should be managing the Cork hurlers or who should be managing the Cork. Yeah, but I'll give a big shout out to one fella too. He's an All-Ireland champion, you know, and a lot of the Leeds fans down in Cork don't like it, but Ray Quinn, one of my own, doesn't live too far from me as well, you know. So Ray, I don't know if you're listening. He was liking it yesterday. He'll probably listen today. Shout out for you, Ray. You know how you could just put Cork in, right? All the best.
Love it.
And, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, look, it's great to
Sorry,
if you're looking for a ticket to Elland Road again, you know who to come to, right?
Oh, 100%. I've earmarked already. Don't worry about that.
I was just thinking about it. It was me that got the ticket for the Borough game for Aidan.
I got straight up when we got off the video the last day. I got straight on the phone to Aidan. I told him he was chuffed to bits. So he was.
Brilliant. But look, Paul, Arsenal and Leeds are finished now for the season. We won't be playing each other again until next season because we've no FA Cup, no Carabao Cup. But I'm going to pass over to Squidger now. He's going to give a shout out to another channel. And definitely, if you fancy coming on some night, we'll definitely get you on the other channel where 100%.
We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. We've a chat. myself, Anthony, and another friend of ours, Carl, have a channel called The Republic of Football, where we talk all things football. We'll be actually live again tomorrow night. It's going to be our third video. We're going live at 10 o'clock tomorrow night. We're talking about the action over the weekend and managers in the Premier League, who'll stay, who'll go, the stresses and stuff like that. So yeah, give it a subscribe and a like and share it with your friends if you can. Thanks very much.
You're getting as bad as mine. Next you're going to have a ref watch.
I tell you.
Definitely. Right, cheers everybody for watching. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.